Hello and welcome to Man United Beat. This is Nosh. After 2 consecutive wins, the Manchester United machine keeps churning out win after win after win. Ruben Amorim's revolution continue. Come on, I can't do this anymore. Yeah, but still 3 wins on the bounce. We're talking after United qualified for the automatic qualification for the Europa League knockout stages, beating mighty Steaua Bucharest 2-0, second place team in Romania. Yeah, big win. And of course, after beating Fulham, which was probably one of the worst games of football I've seen in 25 years. I'm not kidding. It was really bad, but ultimately the feeling is good because we won. But yeah, there is definitely something working defensively for us. 2 clean sheets in a row. First against Fulham, barely gave up any chances at all. Away from home as well. And then similarly against Steaua Bucharest did the same. Well, not creating much, I would say, overall. Going back to my point last week about United's 3-4-3 setup, I think it's perfect for European games. We've seen that. I think Ruben Amorim actually 5 games played in Europe, under him so far, and all 5 have been wins for us. So I think that's something to build upon definitely in Europe, and I think we have to treat the Europa League very seriously, given it's the only viable route for the club to get back into the Champions League next season. And I think honestly, looking at the teams that are there, we should be winning that competition really. But yeah, on to the games then. So listen, I didn't record right after Fulham because I think that game did not justify a reaction. It was like, okay, what kind of football are we playing? 0.25 xg over 90 minutes. I think to be honest, it was quite horrendous until Lisandro Martinez decided to just have a pop from far out, took a deflection. I think the goalie tried to save it and it went in, and really that was it in that game. I've been a bit impressed with how Lisandro Martinez has been stepping up, in an attacking sense. I know he's a third centre back, but in this setup, in the 3-4-3 setup, really the most space that the players are the wide centre backs, really, the right-sided one and the left-sided one. Obviously, and Lisandro Martinez is probably our best defender on the ball, and so it makes sense. But I think he's been finding a bit of space. He obviously scored against Liverpool. He pulled a great cross for Bruno for the winner against Rangers. And he popped up again against obviously Fulham away. So I think definitely it's working from that perspective. Still, United could not create anything. I think the key moment obviously came from a bit of individual quality. Bruno out to Garnacho, I think, who did extremely well. I still find it mental that United would consider selling him, if at all. And I know that window is open for sometime next few days, but it would be mad to sell Garnacho, and I think he did quite well, and eventually it somehow found its way to Lisandro Martinez, who just let fly. So yeah, nothing much to talk about in that game. Much needed win, definitely. And then on to obviously Steaua Bucharest. I think United had a lot of control, did not give up anything defensively. It was very solid. The key change I think Amorim made was bring Mainu into one of the 10s, with Bruno dropping into in the center of the park. So I think, honestly, when I look at Mainu as a profile that he has, I think he's someone who plays very well in tight spaces, and especially where there's a lot of players around him. And I think that worked really well, against Steaua Bucharest as a 10, because he's up more in the forward areas. There is less risk that even if he loses the ball, it will not convert itself into a transition for the opposition. So from that perspective, I think it worked extremely well. Obviously, he great driven cross from him, and Diego Dallo finally he's did what a wing back is supposed to do, provide the width, be at the far post and just tap it in. Really, I feel like we don't see anything of that sort from both him and Mazraoui as our wing backs. And I think the moves that the club is making in the market, especially with the imminent signing of Patrick Dorgu, there was also a report coming out today that United are interested in Quenda from Sporting Lisbon, obviously for the summer. So these are fast, athletic, powerful, physical wing backs that United are trying to sign, and I think that this will have a transformational effect on how the way we play. But till that point in time, till we see them, in the club's colours, obviously, it'll be difficult. We'll still have to persist with Mazraoui and Dalot, who don't provide that sort of athleticism, the physicality, the width, even at times, to be in those positions where a wing back is supposed to be. But regardless, so Mainu, going back to the point, great driven cross, Dalot scoring, and then Garnacho once again. I think he's, to be honest, I see more and more improvement from him. Not just obviously we all know the explosiveness that he has, the level of raw talent and sheer tendency to pull something right out of the hat, really. But I think what we've seen in the last few weeks is him assisting a lot more, being one of the creators. A great ball for Mainu to just control, with a control finish, obviously into the back of the net. All in all, it was a great win for us, and definitely I think we're well placed in the Europa League. We'll see who we play. I think it's gonna be either Real Sociedad or Michelin or a couple of more names that came out. So obviously it's a very winnable competition, and it's really the whole season sort of depends on this. So let's see how it happens. Of course, United play against Crystal Palace at the weekend, and then there's the game against Leicester. Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester coming up in the FA Cup soon. So both in theory, very winnable games. Let's see if the winning feeling, the United juggernaut, continues, progressing in the next few weeks or so. Surprisingly, I think we haven't won consecutive games in the Premier League still the whole season. So we're in February basically. So this is shocking. But the table doesn't lie. So we're currently in those positions because of the form and not winning enough games. But yes, regardless, let's see how things go. And as far as the transfer market goes, obviously United is still working on quite a few outgoings at the moment. Nothing really materializing, I would say. No one wants to get Casemiro off our hands. It's such a shame. Rashford, either Barcelona in the summer, or reports coming out today that Aston Villa want him. Honestly, at this point in time, I'll do a separate video about how I feel about him as a player and what he signifies. Me as a fan, obviously I'm not from Manchester, but I know how important he has been for the community, in general, during especially his work during lockdown. And being a local lad, I can completely understand the frustration in some circles. I know there's a lot of online discourse and toxicity about him, and I don't want to get into that. Mostly perpetrated by certain online YouTubers, which is the exact opposite of what I would like to be, really, absolutely. But yeah, we'll see. I'll talk about that maybe in more detail in another video. But for now, obviously these are the moves that United are making. There's obviously the chance that we could be signing Matthias Till from Bayern Munich on loan. Honestly, 20-year-old striker. There's a lot of talent there, obviously, but then I feel like obviously we still got Rasmus Højlund, who's honestly not having the best of it, and Joshua Zirkzee, also young forwards, and you add another young striker to the mix. It doesn't really add much, to overall in terms of experience and goal scoring prowess and track record, right? So that obviously will be a challenge, but let's see how things go with that. But we'll keep looking, I think, and we'll see how things pan out. But yes, let's see in the next few games as well how we perform. Hopefully more wins to come, climb up the table somehow in the Premier League, continue the FA Cup run. Always good to progress well in that competition as well. All right, ciao, up the fucking Reds.